This week we join mods Rock, Ed, Ghost, Rye, and Kieran as they take us behind the scenes to look at what it was like creating Old School's most difficult challenge yet, the Inferno.
The Inferno is a very high-level PvM piece of content aimed at our top players in order to get the best in slot melee cape. To me, this update is very exciting because it adds another element on top of the iconic fire cape that was released many years ago in RuneScape. Players love this item, everyone uses it, and the chance to offer them a brand new one is very exciting.
So the Inferno is coming with a new Tsar city called Moral Wreck. So I'm mainly testing the city while Mod Rock is focusing on the actual Inferno itself. It works really well for us because he's more of a PvMer and I'm more focused on skilling.
So in order to make it Old School's most difficult challenge, we had to look at it objectively and think about whether the in-house team would be able to complete it, with the goal in mind being that if we cannot complete it, then it's definitely very hard, and perhaps we can turn it up a little bit more so our top players still have trouble completing it.
Yeah, if we can complete it, it needs to be harder.
The player visit was very beneficial for us. If we could get 12 people on the content, that equates to having about 6 times what we can in terms of man hours. And more people can spot more things when you've got different eyes on it.
Not only that, but some of these guys are the kings of PvM, so to have them looking at it was really helpful for us from a feedback point of view.
While using the polling system, it has benefits and it has negatives to it. The benefit is the players can get the piece of content that they want. The downside to it is that when you've got something that's going to be so iconic and so many players have so many opinions, it can take the graphics team a long time in order to get just what the players want.
When we were first presented with the project, we were told that the settlement would be outside of the Tsar city. It would be in a place called Brimstone, which was the working title for it, and there'd also be a different race that was separate to the Tsar. So we set about making a prototype using the terrain editor in our map editor, and then once we'd actually put that out in the community decided that they'd prefer to have it once again in the Tsar city. So we kind of had to go back to the drawing board at very short notice, and luckily the community produced a design for us to base the city of Moral Wreck around, so we were able to just use that as a springboard and quite quickly put something together that was acceptable.
The project was kind of split up into 2 different parts, first being the city itself, Moral Wreck, and then the Inferno actual combat minigame. With the city we didn't have too much free reign because we wanted to keep it kind of very close to the original Tsar area, what's already in game, so there wasn't this massive shift between old and new. We wanted to kind of keep them merged together, whereas with the new minigame we had a lot more freedom to kind of do what we liked with it.
From an artist's perspective, the way the content plays isn't really something that presents us with a challenge. It was more the actual aesthetics of the environment and creating a cutscene which was a good transition to the boss that was the biggest challenge for us. We don't normally do cutscenes in Old School RuneScape by creating new assets and creating something that's quite as ambitious as we've done with this content. So we wanted to create something special to make it big and splashy for our players. Probably the hardest thing as well was to provide the players with enough of a technical insight into the challenges we faced making the cape and reconciling the limitations of our engine with their expectations.
So with the Obsidian armour, one of the main things that I wanted to do was to keep it very similar to older armours, so like the rune plate body, the steel plate body, adamant, etc. This was kind of off the back of some of the feedback that we got from the cape, back from people wanting it to remain old school, not wanting to go through anything kind of very decorative or very busy.
The Inferno is similar to the Fight Caves in that it's a wave-based combat challenge ending with an insanely difficult boss. So whilst this is a sequel to the Fight Caves, and it's very much inspired by the Fight Caves, you can expect a wholly different challenge here. We've really took everything up to the next degree here. So we first thought about the Inferno all the way back in summer 2015 when we were preparing what we wanted to announce at RuneFest. We announced the idea of doing a sequel to the Fight Caves at RuneFest, but unfortunately it failed its poll in the coming January, with players asking for a bigger and better piece of content where we can dedicate more time to it. That time's now arrived, but the original design for the final boss has stuck around in my head since then, and now I've finally been able to create it. So with the Inferno, we really did want to make it that insane challenge. When you achieve that cape, wouldn't you feel proud? It's going to be something that's worth showing off. It was hard to actually manage that difficulty because we're aiming for something that even we cannot beat. So after creating the final boss and playing around with the prototype, we've given it go after go after go, and it's gone under several iterations where we've taken it further to make sure it meets that difficulty. When it comes to the waves, something we really wanted to do was actually get the streamers and different content creators in the building so they could give it their best shot. That's really useful for us. It allowed us to get so much feedback from some of the people that are very good when it comes to this sort of content, and it allowed us to sort of benchmark where the waves should be at, how long we want them to take, how difficult they actually are. One of the focuses when I was designing the final boss was to actually think completely from the player's perspective of what do I want the player to actually do to defeat this boss, rather than coming up with mechanics and then thinking about how the player should go about solving them. I was trying to think from the perspective, what would be really difficult for the player to do, and then design a boss that met that. Essentially, it's the other way around to the way I've designed things in the past. And I think it's really worked well in way of letting us design a boss that's just beyond anything we've ever done before. If you're the first player to defeat the Inferno, we're going to give you an in real life Inferno cape, which looks amazing. You also get lifetime membership. Never pay for membership again. And you also get a RuneFest ticket with all travel expenses paid for by us.
So there you have it. The Inferno is live in-game right now. Do you have what it takes?
So on June the 1st, the Inferno finally hits your screens. No, that's a cinema release. On June the 1st.
Matt Damon takes on the Inferno.